Hey there, I'm Ann Perry, and today I'm going to be sharing with you something that many numerologists never even talk about. But then again, as many of you know, I'm not usually like most any other numerologist. So I love sharing this stuff with you. I love sharing it with you if it's just a little bit out there and something you may not have discovered before. So a few weeks ago, I shared with you the concept of shoulder seasons observed in numerology. So if you've forgotten what that means, no worries, I've got you covered. So many of you are familiar with the 9-year epicycle that we look at in a numerology chart. Maybe you've had a reading with me, maybe you've studied it on your own. But if you're not familiar with the 9-year cycle, you can always learn more by checking out my video. It's on YouTube, and it's called the 9-year epicycle, Understanding the Personal Year that You're in. So you might want to hop over there and check that out. Or you can see it on my website. So each year, in and around October, we all begin to feel this shift from a year that we're currently in to the year that we're going into in January the following year. And this is called a shoulder season. So from January until the end of April, you're still feeling that vibration of your previous personal year. So again, this is why we call it the shoulder season. So I thought it was important to share with you that in about 2 weeks, you're going to be feeling this full intensity of your personal year. You might think you're already in it, but you're going to be starting to really feel it. But did you know that your personal year also has a highlight to it? So a highlight year number, it identifies the progress that you're making on your life's journey. So they help us to see the progress that we're making in our personal lives, but also in our professional lives. So super easy to figure this out. To figure out which highlight year that you're in, you simply add your current age to the age that you're going to be next year. Simple math. I only do simple stuff, right? So for example, I am 62 this year, so I'm going to add 62 to 63, and that adds up to 125. And we reduce 125 to a single digit. So we're actually adding we're going to be adding 1 plus 2 plus 5 equals 8. So that means that between my 62nd and my 63rd birthday, I'm going to be in a highlight year of 8. So let's look at what each highlight year actually means and what it might bring to your personal year. So remember, this is like an umbrella effect that is somewhat similar to the universal year. Now, if you've had a reading from me before, you know that I'm going to be talking with you about your personal year. We'll talk a little bit about the universal year. We look at last year, this year, next year, all that kind of stuff. But we also look at what's called an essence. Now, an essence is something very different than what we're talking about here today. The essence is actually comes from your full name on your birth certificate. So for example, if you happen to be in a 2 personal year and I'm in a 2 personal year, that's great because a 2 is a 2 is a 2. It's the same for you. It's the same for me. It's the same for everybody, right? There's a very distinct theme that exists in a 2 personal year. But your name on your birth certificate will tell me how are you personally going to go through that year. So that's a really fine-tooth, heavy hitter kind of an essence, right? You're really going to feel that one. This one that we're talking about here, the highlight year, goes between birth date to birth date, okay? So it's not coming from your birth name. It actually comes from the current age that you are right now and where are you going, what will you be next year, okay? So when we're looking at the highlight year, we know that this is like an umbrella effect. It's kind of like the universal year in a sense, okay? But it's a little bit more personal to you. So if by chance you happen to be in a 1 highlight year, it shows that you've experienced a significant ending that's now being followed by a new beginning, because the 1 is always going to be about new beginnings, new energy. So it's a period that's often going to ask you to take a leap of faith, okay? This is an energy that can cause you to give up something that you've been working on for a while in favor of maybe trying something new. So you might even be given a change of career, change of job, maybe a change of relationship, maybe an interest in changing career studies, you know, in terms of academics, that sort of thing. So the 1 energy, as you'll note, is the same across the board. A 1 is a 1 is a 1, right? It just depends on where it lands. So in this case, it's an umbrella effect. So you might be in a 9 personal year, which is about endings, but you could possibly have a highlight year, which is all about new beginnings. So there's that little bit of a contradiction going on there. Now, if you happen to be with a highlight year of the 2, this one can be a little bit tricky, as the vibration can cause you to feel a little bit out of balance. 2 is always about establishing balance. You might be struggling between feeling really inspired and yet a little stuck at the same time. So this is going to be a year that's going to demand a lot of patience from you as you weigh out all of your options. So this isn't a time to leap. Rather, it's a wait and see kind of a year. It's not something you full bore. It's a bit of a timeout. It's a time to kind of rest and restore before you get moving into the next year. So when we look at following that up with a highlight year of 3, the 3 highlight year can offer a newfound interest in expanding your social life. Last year, when you were in the 2 highlight year, not feeling overly social, right? Even though you might have been in a 3 personal year, which is a bigger influence, okay? If you had a 2 highlight year, that's going to drown that 3 energy a little bit. You know, that 3 says, I want to be social, I want to be out there, I want to be expressive in that. But when we have that 2 highlight year sitting on top of that, it kind of tampers it a little bit. So it's going to be a year where your creative juices are really going to be flowing. No question about that. It's an idea when a lot of ideas are coming to you, lots of downloads coming. So you want to share them with your friends and your family and to get their feedback, basically. So enjoy this energy, as it's typically kind of a fun energy. Rather than coming into the year of 4 or the highlight year of the energy of the 4. So this demands a little bit more focus, whereas the 3 was kind of scattered and all over the place and having a little bit of fun, maybe partying, socializing, whatever. The 4 vibration changes your focus to one of work and organization and coming up with a plan. So you're going to be inspired to make a plan. So you need to really keep an eye on what it is that you're focusing on, okay? Anything we give our energy and focus to gets what? Gets bigger. So we want to focus on what we want to manifest rather than getting really frustrated, sitting around worrying about what we haven't accomplished. So even though it may not be in your nature to enjoy routine and structure and plans, this year might surprise you because the need for the plan, the need for the structure, the need for the routine actually is going to support your journey. And it's really going to support you in a very positive way that you might not ordinarily be looking for, right? The 4 might just not be your thing. For example, if you're a 5 life path number, you hate structure, you hate routine, right? You want to just live on your, live by the seat of your pants and experience life as it rolls out. But the 4 is a bit more demanding. All right, so let's now take a look at what we might experience with a 5 highlight year. So that's that umbrella energy over whatever your personal year is. It's always going to ask you, the 5 will ask you to be flexible in the face of change. Change is imminent under this umbrella, this vibration. It's going to happen. Change is always going to be there. And when the 5 influence is there, it's going to be there more than any other year. So this is a year where you're going to need to learn how to maybe be a little bit more flexible and adaptable, to focus your energy in productive ways rather than scattering your energy all over the place, which is the tendency of the 5. So it's time to stretch the limits, but to always be on the lookout for options that are, within your better interest. Okay, you're always looking for the best options for you. You might get a little scattered. So you want to pause for a second and go, okay, lay them out. There's option 1, option 2, option 3, which one is within the best interest for me? So you might feel inspired to take a risk, but it should always be a calculated risk, okay, when you're under the influence of the 5. It's a great year for travel too. Experience to travel is always, always really good. In the year of 6, in the highlight year of 6, you might feel a greater sense of responsibility to your home, to your family. It could also be to your work family as well, not just your personal family. So the 6 energy focuses on the domestic side of life, your home life. So you might be questioning where you live, the actual physical dwelling that you're in, or possibly the relationship that you're with. Do you really want to stay in that? You might feel a need to renovate your home, to make some changes. So this is going to be a year where you're really going to be pulled in a lot of different directions because a lot of demands are going to be made upon you. So you want to try and strike a balance between the many responsibilities that people will be demanding of you. Typically you just feel like you have to be in all places at all times. It's like I'm at work and it's all good and I'm doing a great job and I love this, but I got to get home because my mother really needs me. So you go home and you take care of your mom and it's like, oh, this is great. I love it. I'm helping my mom, but man, I got to get back to work. So it's like this teeter-totter effect, right? You're getting pushed and pulled and tugged and towed in a lot of different directions. So balance is definitely the key. Now, when you go into the 7 is going to ask you to find take some time out to be alone for introspection and reflection, right? So this is going to be a time to pause, all right, while you're asking yourself the big questions. You know, what do I want? Where do I want to be? Where do I want to live? It can be a time when your interest in spiritual studies really is at an all-time high. You need to really honor your need for space at this time. It really is very important, because you got to remember, it's not selfish for you to say, hey, I need a time out. Because remember, the energy of last highlight year was an energy about responsibility and being there for everybody else. So when you come into that 7 energy, it's like back off. Like, I need to go in my cave. I need some time by myself. And that's cool. That's okay. Because remember, everybody else is also at some point in time in the cycle going to go through that. So we have to honor our need for space and solitude when we're in the 7 energy. So as we move into the 8 highlight year, it's often a time when you're going to be very focused on your financial interests. Okay, so your financial state. So it might be a good time to meet up with a financial planner. So it's a time to take stock of your affairs. Have you been investing well? Have you been overspending? It's also a time to really examine and check in with your level of self-worth. You know, how have you been teaching others to treat you? Are you getting your worth? Maybe it's time to step it up and ask for that well-deserved raise. You know, I always say, if you're accepting a paycheck and you're kind of pissed about the amount of money you're getting paid, have you told your boss? Right? Because if you haven't, you basically taught him it's okay, this is all I'm worth when you accept that paycheck. So we want to make sure that we're getting our self-worth. This is a really good time to step it up. You'll find the courage to step it up and step into your self-worth with the energy of the 8. So we are also looking at the energy of the 9. The highlight year of the 9 is a year when you're going to be examining what you need to release and let go of. It's an energetic experience this year. Every year is an energetic experience, right? But in particular, the 9 energy asks you to look at your stuff. You know, look at your clutter. Look at your the things in your home, in your office, the people that you're spending time with, right? Are they really within your best interest to take with you into your next cycle? You look at the limiting beliefs in your head, right? We all have them. You know, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough, not young enough, whatever enough, right? We always have those. So we want to make sure that we are getting the best out of our year of 9, where we're releasing and letting go that which is not serving us well anymore. So you want to be able to move forward next year in a more clutter-free environment. So this could include finishing a course that maybe you've been struggling with to get done. It could be related to paying off a debt, maybe a mortgage, credit card debt, whatever. Do the best you can in a 9 energy. Ending a relationship possibly, or maybe ending a job or a career. So it's time to really take stock of your affairs in order so that you can take advantage of the next year's energy, which is going to be related to new beginnings. So there you have it. Very similar to the 9-year epicycle, isn't it? But it's more of a, I don't want to say it's kind of like a shadow effect sort of thing. It's like a little bit of an umbrella that rides over that year. So knowing this, you can harness it. You know, for example, if you're in a personal year of 7, which says I want to be by myself, but you've got a 3 highlight year sitting on top, that might be encouraging you to step into some courses related to spirituality and to discuss them, to get into discussion groups, maybe a book club, something like that, right? So there's always something you can take advantage of. So it really kind of gives you the clues. There's so much that we can see in a numerology chart. Oh my God. I really hope that this has given you just a little bit more insight in how you can really take advantage of your personal year, right? We only get that one personal year once in a 9-year cycle. Same with the 2, right through to 9. We only get that energy once in a 9-year cycle. So we've got to harness it, right? We've got to take advantage of it. You know, if you were in a year of 1, wouldn't you want to know that, right? So, or likewise endings, whatever. Like, it's really important that we understand the cycle that we're in. You know, the thing that I love the most really about numerology is that I can identify the cycles that we're in. That was so important to me getting involved in numerology in the first place. It's what really turned me on to it. I was feeling really stuck one year, had a really challenging year. It was a pretty dark place actually. And when I went back, when I learned numerology and I went back, I saw it clearly. Oh, it's clear as day. It was like a red flag on my chart that said, yeah, you're going to feel stuck from this point to this point. And had I known that, I would have gone through that year so much easier, knowing that this is just a small little blip on the map, right? It doesn't define who I am. It doesn't say this is your life sucks forever. It just says it sucks for now, right? And sometimes it does. That's just kind of part of it, right? So if you're feeling stuck, it's likely just a cycle that's going on. It doesn't mean that you'll be stuck forever, I promise you. There are so many clues in your chart that can help relieve any anxiety that you might be feeling about your present time and into the future. So as you likely know, you probably know I do offer personal readings where we really look at that in depth. We look at the long-term cycles, the pinnacles, the life path periods. We look at, you know, the personal years, the essences, all of it, right? To give you a really good, clear picture as to what's going on. But I also teach numerology, and I've got lots of courses to offer you. You can check them out on my website. Excuse me, you can learn a lot more about them there. I have some free courses. I've got some personal courses. I have a group numerology course coming up you might be interested in. Message me if you are wanting to get into a group environment to do a group coaching program. We can do that. And I also do personal coaching as well. So if you want to become a numerologist, or maybe you want to add that to your tool bag, you know, whatever it is you're doing professionally, maybe you'll find numerology would be a nice adjunct to help you through whatever you're doing with your clients or whatever type of work you're doing. It's helpful. It really is. Oh my God, it's so helpful. So I'd love to share that with you. So I would really, really welcome the opportunity to share my passion with you. Hoping that you are creating your best day ever. Thanks so much for stopping by. Really appreciate it. Hoping you're having a great day. Take care. Bye for now.